The son worked like crazy, desperate to milk the company for all it was worth. He even dragged his feet to leave work at night. In the end though, the king beat him black and blue and turned him into the moon. This was a tiny world made entirely of building blocks, where the king ruled as the absolute master. Every morning at AM, soldiers would ring the alarm clock promptly to wake the sleeping king. With a simple snap of his fingers, the king set the sun free from his cage, and sunlight flooded the earth in an instant. But the king didn't care about any of that. He promptly drifted off to sleep again on his throne. He slept right through till dusk, and the sunset bell had already rung loud and clear. The sun, however, refused to clock out as required. He hung stubbornly in the sky, refusing to return to his cage. This act of defiance disrupted the world's order, throwing the castle into total chaos. Furious, the king took an elevator to the top of the tower and ordered the sun to leave work at once, or else he'd dock his entire paycheck. But the sun, for the first time ever, flipped his lid on the spot. He'd long resented this puny king, and he was determined to break free from his control once and for all. The sun opened his mouth wide and blew out a blast of scorching air that turned into a violent gale, sending the king flying. The castle gates shattered to pieces in seconds. The sun's rebellion enraged the king beyond measure. With a mighty wave of his scepter, dozens of giant cannons rose straight from the ground. At his command, countless barrels fired at once, launching hook chains that shot toward the sun, locking tight around his teeth in an attempt to drag him back to his cage. But the sun snapped his jaws open and spewed out searing flames, incinerating the chains in an instant and reducing the cannons to useless rubble. The sun thought he'd finally won until an even bigger cannon emerged out of nowhere and fired a full-on train straight at him. It turned out all the earlier attacks were just child's play. This was the king's real ace in the hole. The train charged at the sun with unstoppable force. With danger closing in fast, the sun stopped holding back. He opened his mouth and unleashed a 1,000-degree inferno. The train was hit hard and started to break apart. The king clung for dear life to the roof, barely keeping himself steady, but instead of backing down, he cranked the train's speed up to maximum, aiming for a suicidal collision straight into the sun's eye. A blinding flash of white light exploded. When it faded, the train was completely destroyed and the sun had been beaten into the moon. Exhausted, the king sat perched on the moon's eye socket, having successfully defended his unchallenged authority as ruler of the world.